As you know, we are discussing about nutritional deficiencies disorders. We have talked about marasmus, kwashiorkor, bulimia nervosa, anorexia nervosa, and today we are going to talk about deficiency of vitamins. We will talk about sources, deficiencies, and excess of these fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. And then we will discuss about some trace elements like zinc, copper, and chromium. So, starting from the very beginning, you can zoom. Fat-soluble vitamins, we know there are 4 types of vitamins that are fat-soluble: A, D, E, and K. And then we will talk about some trace elements. Starting fat-soluble vitamins, why the deficiency of fat-soluble vitamins happens due to malabsorptive disorders, plus which will lead to steatorrhea. You can see the excretion of unresolved or unabsorbed fat through feces. That is having more toxic effects than the water-soluble vitamins deficiency. From the very beginning, vitamin A, that is also called retinol or retinol or retinoic acid. If we talk about the sources of vitamin A, that are liver, egg, yolk, butter, and milk. And if we talk about the deficiency of vitamin A, because we are talking about deficiency of vitamins, so deficiency of vitamin A which lead to night blindness, that is the first sign of nyctalopia. It will lead to immunosuppression. It will cause dry and scaly skin, that is called xerosis cutis. Deficiency of vitamin A will lead to the corneal squamous metaplasia and Bitot spot. You can see the foamy keratin accumulation in our conjunctiva, that is called Bitot spot. Then corneal degeneration, that is called keratomalacia, renal calculi, and vulnerable to many infections, especially measles. And the deficiency of vitamin A can also lead to the pneumonia, in which there is a squamous metaplasia of ciliated columnar epithelium of bronchi. And we talk about there is excess, excess of everything is also bad. So excess of vitamin A will lead to acute toxicity and chronic toxicity. If we talk about acute toxicity, it will lead to nausea, vomiting, vertigo, and blurred vision. And chronic toxicity due to excess accumulation or ingestion or intake of vitamin A will lead to alopecia, that is the autoimmune disorder leading to the hair loss. There will be patchy hair loss. Then dry skin called scaliness, and there will be hepatic toxicity or hepatic enlargement, that is called hepatomegaly. Enlargement of the liver, hepatomegaly, like we have talked about. If there is enlargement in the size of the heart, it's called cardiomegaly, and here there is enlargement of the liver, it is called hepatomegaly. Then we will talk about vitamin D, the second fat-soluble vitamin. There are sources of vitamin D is different because there are 2 types of vitamin D. D2, that is called ergocalciferol, and D3 that is called cholecalciferol. D2 or ergocholecalciferol, source of this vitamin D is fungi and yeast, and source of vitamin D3 or cholecalciferol are the exposure of sun, fish, and milk. In deficiency of vitamin D in children will lead to the rickets called genu varum, the bowing of the knee joint, and in adults it will lead to osteomalacia, and overall vitamin D deficiency will lead to the muscular pain, muscular weakness, and hypocalcemic tetany. And if we talk about the excess of vitamin D, it will lead to the hypercalcemia and hypercalciuria. Plus, it will lead to the loss of appetite, stupor. What is stupor? It is a state of near to unconsciousness state. The person is almost going to unconscious state. It is called stupor. Plus, it will lead to granulomatous disorder. As we know, there will be increased activation of the vitamin D by the epithelioid cells. So that was about deficiency and excess of vitamin D. Now we will talk about vitamin E, the third fat-soluble vitamin. It is also called tocopherol, and the source of tocopherol or vitamin E are nuts, means almonds and seeds, plus olives, vegetable oil, wheat germ, plus green leafy vegetables. If we talk about the deficiency of vitamin E, it will lead to the hemolytic anemia, plus acanthocytosis, muscle weakness, demyelination of the posterior column of the spinal cord, and spinocerebellar degeneration, that is called ataxia. It will lead to the ataxia. And the excess of vitamin E or excess of tocopherol due to increased intake of olive, vegetable oil, green leafy vegetables or wheat germs, It will lead to in infants, it will cause enterocolitis, increased risk of enterocolitis, and it will disturb the metabolism of other vitamins, that especially the vitamin K. So due to vitamin K imbalance, or you can say disturbance in the metabolization, it will lead to increased action of the warfarin. So it will disturb the coagulation system of the body. Then we have fourth or last fat soluble vitamin, that is vitamin K. There are three types of vitamin K: K1, K2 and K3. K1 are phyloquinone. This origin of phyloquinone or K1 is plant origin. K2 or menaquinone, origin by intestinal bacteria, and origin of or source of K3 or menadione. These are synthetic vitamin K, synthetic. If we talk about the deficiency of vitamin K, most common cause of deficiency of vitamin K is increased or prolonged use of antibiotics use. As we know, when we use antibiotics for a long time, it will not only disturb the foreign bacteria, it will disrupt our own normal floral bacteria, and that are very important to absorb the vitamin K. So in prolonged use of antibiotics will lead to the deficiency of vitamin K. That is the most common cause. Then in newborns, as we know, newborn will have the normal or trying to absorb vitamin K from 5 to 6 days. So that is why we give intramuscular injection about 1 mg of vitamin K to newly born babies to to prevent the hemorrhagic anemias, because without that it will lead to the hemorrhagic disease and bleeding diathesis, easy bleeding from everywhere, because there is a decreased amount of vitamin K that is very important for coagulation. Then if we talk about some other, you can say trace elements or minerals, fluoride. The deficiency of fluoride will lead to the dental caries, and excess of fluoride will lead to the fluorosis and osteosclerosis. Deficiency of zinc will lead to the acrodermatitis enteropathica. What is that? It is just, you can see the rashes present over around your eyes, around your mouth, around your nose, and around your anal part. So this is called acrodermatitis enteropathica due to deficiency of zinc. And there are some metabolic factors, you can say metabolic effects due to deficiency of zinc. It will lead to the poor wound healing. That is very important. Zinc is very important for cofactor in collagenase. So due to deficiency of zinc, it will lead to disturbance in the collagenase activity, which will eventually ends up in poor wound healing. Then we have features around mouth. It will lead to the dysgenesia. What is dysgenesia? It is loss of taste. Then it will lead to the anosmia. What is anosmia? Loss of smell. And it will lead to perioral rash. Perioral rash, only rashes present around the mouth due to deficiency of zinc. And there is also, deficiency of zinc is a general terminology called acrodermatitis enteropathica, where rashes are not only around mouth, rashes are also present around the nose, around the eyes, and around the anus. And then lastly, in children, the deficiency of zinc will lead to the hypogonadism and growth retardation. And overall, most importantly, zinc deficiency will lead to the infertility, because zinc is very important for the spermogenesis. So if the person is deficient of zinc, there are high chances that the person will face infertility later on. So now we will talk about other trace elements first, then we will talk about water soluble vitamins later. Copper, a trace element. The deficiency of copper happened due to TPN. What is TPN? Total per enteral nutrition. Total per enteral nutrition. And the deficiency of copper will lead to the neutropenia, osteoporosis, poor wound healing, refractory hypochromic anemia. And then we have another trace element, selenium. It is also most common cause of deficiency of selenium and copper and chromium. That is TPN, total per enteral nutrition. Its deficiency of selenium will lead to the muscle pain, muscle weakness, and Kishan disease, that is cardiomyopathy. Then thirdly, we have chromium. Again, the most common deficiency of total parenteral nutrition. Deficiency of chromium will lead to the impaired glucose intolerance and peripheral neuropathy. What is peripheral neuropathy? Is the disorder of the neurons which are present outside the brain and outside the spinal cord. It's called peripheral neuropathy. Then we have iron. Deficiency of iron will lead to the hypochromic microcytic anemia, and we have iodine. Deficiency of iodine will lead to the goiter or hypothyroidism. Now we will talk about the water soluble vitamins that are most easily, readily wash out from the body, except vitamin B6 and B9, because vitamin B6, the storage of vitamin B6 is present in our body for 3 to 4 months, and storage of vitamin B9 is about 3 to 4 years. So all the water soluble vitamins can be washed out from the body except these two, B6 and B9. If we talk about vitamin B1, it is also called thiamine or anurine. Excess because it is very essential and important for the carbohydrate utilization, and the source of vitamin B is liver, egg, rice, wheat and whole grain cereal. The causes of the vitamin B1 are thiamine, chronic alcoholism, plus diet which is rich in rice enriched diet, plus we have parboiling or hot soaking, or you can uncooked or not completely cooked meal, that will lead to the deficiency of vitamin B1. If we deficiency of vitamin B, there are many clinical features. First of all, Wernicke's encephalopathy, where we have a triad of confusion, ataxia and ophthalmoplegia. Then second most common clinical feature due to deficiency of vitamin B1 or thiamine, Korsakoff syndrome. Korsakoff syndrome leads to the personality changes plus confabulation or false memory, in which in Urdu we say khayali pulao banana. Confabulation plus there is a permanent loss of memory. Then third one, we have a Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, in which we have the clinical features of Wernicke's encephalopathy and Korsakoff syndrome, plus there will be damage to the mammillary body of the hypothalamus and mediodorsal nucleus of the thalamus. Then we have dry beriberi and wet beriberi. Everybody knows dry beriberi, due to decreased transcutaneous activity, it will lead to systemic muscular weakness, polyneuritis due to increased pyruvate accumulation. Then we have wet beriberi due to deficiency of thiamine, B1 deficiency, in high output cardiac failure, or you can say dilated cardiomyopathy plus edema. Now we will talk about vitamin B2 or riboflavin. Riboflavin, the source of vitamin B2 are liver, dairy products, soybean, nuts and green leafy vegetables. If we talk about the deficiency of B2 or riboflavin, it will lead to the corneal neovascularization. There will be new vessels formation in our cornea. Corneal neovascularization plus glossitis, inflammation of the tongue, it's called magenta tongue. Then chelosis, cracks over our lips, and angular stomatitis, the fissuring at our angle of the mouth, that is called angular stomatitis. These things happen due to deficiency of riboflavin, due to decreased intake of these sources of the vitamin B2. Now vitamin B3, that is also called niacin or nicotinic acid, which is a derivative of tryptophan. If we take corn-based diet, it will lead to the deficiency of tryptophan and niacin. But tryptophan can be deficient in other two disorders. Number one is corn-based diet. Number two is Hartnup disease, in which the patient is unable to absorb the protein products. Plus carcinoid syndrome that we have discussed. This is a paraneoplastic syndrome. Then, the deficiency of vitamin B3, niacin and nicotinic acid will lead to the pellagra, a 3D disease. Why it is called 3D disease? Because we have 3 Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis and dementia. So 3D disease means diarrhea, dementia and dermatitis. If we talk about dermatitis, it is a castle necklace shaped deformity, or you can say abnormality. Broad collar is also called, due to the hyperpigmentation, due to increased exposure to the sun. If the area of your body that is hyperly, or you can say increased exposed to the sun, it will lead to the hyperpigmentation at that area due to deficiency of vitamin B3. Now we will talk about excess of vitamin B3, it will lead to the facial flushing plus hyperglycemia and hyperuricemia. Then we have a vitamin B5, which is also called pantothenic acid, and the deficiency of vitamin B5 will lead to the dermatitis, enteritis, alopecia and adrenal insufficiency. Then B6, which is also called pyridoxine, very important vitamin. Deficiency of vitamin B6 or pyridoxine will lead to convulsion, a kind of abnormal, irregular contraction of the voluntary muscles, fit seizure you can say. Convulsions, hyperirritability, peripheral neuropathy, Parkinson's like clinical features like rigidity, trauma, hypokinesia. Then sideroblastic anemia, in which there is impaired hemoglobin synthesis and excess amount of iron in the body. Then we have xanthuric index, in which this index we use to check either the vitamin B6 patient is deficient or not. Then we have vitamin B7, which is called biotin. Deficiency of biotin will lead due to the prolonged use of antibiotics. Just like vitamin K, the cause of vitamin K deficiency is prolonged use of antibiotics, and cause of vitamin B7 deficiency is also prolonged antibiotic use. And if we use, egg white ingestion, we take a white egg very frequently or randomly or more than common, more than normal, it will lead to deficiency of vitamin B7. Why? Because the avidin, which is present in the egg, it is just antagonist or totally opposite to the B7. So if we take more amount of B7, which is present in our egg white, it will lead to that consequences. Then we have vitamin B9 and B12. We will discuss in detail about when we talk about blood related disorders. Vitamin B9 and vitamin B12. Vitamin B9 is also called folic acid or folate. Vitamin B12, everybody knows what is called cyanocobalamin or cyanocobal. If we talk about vitamin B9 a little bit, it is called folic acid. It is present in all food, but it can be destroyed in 10 to 15 minutes of cooking. So beware, you can use the leafy vegetables without cooking. If you cook your food for 10 to 15 minutes, it will lead to destruction of vitamin B12 present in that food. And if we talk about etiology of deficiency of B9, most common etiology is alcohol intake. Then second most common is increased demand that happens in pregnancy. And third one, most important, is celiac disease. And it will lead deficiency of vitamin B2, B9 or folic acid or folate will lead to the neural tube defect plus megaloblastic anemia. Now we'll talk about vitamin B12, that is also called cyanocobalamin. Very frequently used in our Asian countries randomly, or you can say swab के तौर पे हम दे देते हैं जो भी patient आता है दे दो. Vitamin B12, the source of vitamin B12 is meat, dairy products, egg, and etiology or causes of deficiency of B12 are pernicious anemia, Crohn's disease, if the person is purely vegetarian, because this is not present in our vegetables. So if the person is purely vegan or purely vegetarian, it will lead to deficiency of vitamin B12. Plus, if there is a malabsorptive syndromes, and there are some drugs which will lead to the deficiency of vitamin B12 that are phenytoin and methotrexate. And it will lead to the deficiency of vitamin B12 will lead to the megaloblastic anemia. Now last but not the least, vitamin C or ascorbic acid. If we talk about the sources of vitamin C or ascorbic acid, the sources are fruits, vegetables, milk, liver, like jigar, milk, fish. And if we talk about etiology, which are causing the deficiency of vitamin C, are the diet which are deficient in these things. The diet is deficiency of these fish. If you don't take fruits or fish or milk or vegetables, it will lead to the deficiency of vitamin C or ascorbic acid. Plus cigarette smoking, it is also one of the cause of deficiency of vitamin C. Plus, if the person is under dialysis. Renal dialysis. So if the deficiency happens due to diet or cigarette smoking or dialysis, it will lead to scurvy. What is scurvy? Swollen gums, easy bruising, petechia, hemarthrosis, anemia, poor wound healing, and the most important feature is corkscrew hairs. And there are some other fatal complications of vitamin C deficiency or ascorbic acid deficiency are cerebral hemorrhage and hemopericardium and weakened immune system. So that was about fats, water soluble vitamins, their sources, their deficiency and excess, trace elements, their deficiencies, clinical features, and fat soluble vitamins, their sources, their deficiencies, and what will be the clinical consequences if there is excess amount of vitamins in our body. So do you have any question?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.